Good morning, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm in my hometown of Rutherglen, and this place has a secret that most people don't realise. Glasgow has had a big year this year, celebrating its 850th year. But did you know that Rutherglen became a royal borough back in 1126 under the rule of King David I, making it one of the oldest towns in Scotland? So that means next year, in 2026, Rutherglen will be 900 years old, making it older than Glasgow. So in today's video, let's have a brief look at some of the history of Rutherglen, which is the town where I was born and raised. And let's see why Rutherglen was once more important than Glasgow itself. So what exactly is a royal borough? Well, in medieval Scotland, getting royal borough status was like becoming one of the king's special towns. It meant you had huge privileges. You could hold markets, collect taxes, run courts, and control local trade. These towns were the economic engines of the kingdom, and Rutherglen was right at the heart of it. Long before Glasgow became the city that it is today, Rutherglen was the established centre of trade in this whole area. The official founding of Rutherglen dates all the way back to 1126. And just to put that into perspective, Glasgow didn't become a borough until the 1190s, over 60 years later. So for those first decades, Rutherglen was the dominant settlement here. So if you lived in this area in the 1100s or the 1200s, Rutherglen, not Glasgow, was the place you came to do business. One of the most fascinating parts of Rutherglen's history is something that isn't here anymore. Its castle. It once stood somewhere around where Castle Street sits today. The castle would have been a symbol of royal authority, overlooking the whole town, but by the late 1500s, it was gone. Historians believe it was destroyed around 1569 during political upheavals of that period. Today there is nothing visible left, but the ground under your feet still holds almost 1,000 years of stories. As a royal borough, Rutherglen had the right to host weekly markets and big annual fairs. These events were absolutely vital to medieval life, and neighbouring villages had to pay fees just to trade here. Another old tradition was the riding of the marches. Every year, locals would walk the exact boundary of the borough to make sure that nobody had encroached on the land. Some of the old boundary stones still survive today, if you know where to look. These customs show just how powerful Rutherglen once was. It's hard to imagine it now, but for a long time, Rutherglen actually held more legal and trading power than Glasgow itself. Glasgow didn't really take off until the 1600s and the 1700s, mainly because of its trade with the Americas. Before that boom, however, Rutherglen was the long-established, officially recognised centre. But as Glasgow exploded in size, Rutherglen gradually slipped into its shadow. Still, its early importance is a huge part of why this area developed the way it did. I used to live up here, in that pen. That's what it was called, the pen. We're going to go and have a look, see if I can get inside. Oh, I remember coming down here in a little go-kart, screeching to a halt before I went out onto the main road. Very dangerous. So I lived here till I was 9. So a wee peek through. There it is. I lived in that corner close up there, up at the top, but the windows were all round the other side. Ah, memories. Number 75A I lived in. Stonelaw Road. That building over there used to be Stonelaw High School, and quite a few famous people went to that school. In fact, there was quite a few famous people from Rutherglen. Musicians, actors, comedians. Can you remember who came from here? Let me know in the comments if you know. There's quite a list. I think this was a BMX park. I think it is a BMX park. There used to be tennis courts here. I've got memories of my friend and I coming over when we were right into the tennis for a period of time. Now, to give you an idea when that was, it was back in the days of John McEnroe beyond Burgh. We'd come over and play tennis here. There was a call to bring the tennis courts back, maybe even covered, but nothing as yet. But this was a BMX park, as you can see. This would have been amazing if we had this when I was a kid. I had a rally chopper. That would have been perfect for jumping over these hills. By the way, I'm in Overton Park. Get this ramp going up and back down again. Terrific. See the gravel going over the top. Kids these days don't really come out, do they? They stay in the house and go on social media and games machines, and you know, if ever I see kids out playing on a bike or whatever, I always think, wow, that's great. Doing it, playing the old fashioned way. Keeping fit, keeping healthy. Let's go into the main park and have a look at some of the old Victorian relics. I used to walk along this road on my way home from primary school, and I've got a funny memory of this road. As you can see, it's quite a long straight road, and I remember my mum walking me home one time. Now, she must have been in her early 30s. I'm about 9 or 10, and I said to her, "Mum, I'll race you to the park gates," which are just up here, knowing full well in my mind 100% that I would beat her hands down. Did I beat her? No, she took off like a greyhound, leaving me standing. I couldn't believe it. It actually blew my mind that my mum, who was old, well, everyone's old when you're 9, she was a very old woman in her early 30s, could beat me at running. I was knocked for 6 for days after that. Couldn't believe it. Okay, this is not the main entrance to the park, but this is one of the entrances. There's 3 in total. This one here, the one up at the far end, and the main one, which we'll get to in a minute. So I've got another funny story about over here. In fact, I don't know if it's still here. We'll go up and have a look and I'll tell you the story. So it was in here. Oh, it looks as if it's all changed. Let's have a look through the gates. It's now Grove 73 Community Garden. Wow, all changed. So, wait, I tell you the story. Well, I walked along a bit, they're still here. They're just next to the gardens. The bowling green. The story. Hope the sound picks up okay because I've not got my mic with me. So I was about 3 or 4 years old. I was preschool anyway, and I was out shopping with my mum, and we were in Woolworths, which is down in the main street, about half a mile away from here. when, as usual what toddlers do, I toddled off. My mum couldn't find me, I was missing. Then it grew into severe panic. She actually put out an APB for me. All the taxis, all the police were looking for me. Where was I? I was up here, watching the men playing bowling. I had walked all that way, crossing quite a few roads. I was 4 at the most. No one stopped me because I was very tall for my age. I must have put the fear of death into my mother. At least I was in Rutherglen's friendliest community club. I was fascinated with the balls. I was just found sitting, watching the men bowling. Would you believe that? I have absolutely no recollection whatsoever. None at all. I'm just purely going with the story my mum told me. So that's my story about Overton Park Bowling Club. I absolutely love this park. It's not very big, well, certainly not now. It's been slowly eaten into. There was an old folks home built on top of the pitches that used to be there. I think it was red ash pitches, which I remember Jock Steen used to come down and watch the young boys playing football, obviously scouting back in the day. And then of course with the wall being moved in to widen the Mill Street, but we'll have a look at that in a minute. But what I'm seeing over here is the bandstand. Let's have a closer look. Oh my goodness, you can see the damage that's been done to the bandstand. Look at the top of it, everything burnt off. See, it's getting the work done to it, so I think it's hoping to be opened by next year for Rutherglen's 900th anniversary. Let's hope. That is an absolute tragedy. Arson attack, see youngsters today. I'm saying that, it could have been a grown up man, I don't know. They just don't care, do they? So this massive field here in the park, this is where all the events used to take place on Landover Day. Up there you'd have all the stalls all down, selling this and that, and here you would have all the games. And up there in the sky I remember watching paratroopers jumping out of a plane and landing down here. Absolutely amazing. Look at that. Shocking. So we're heading down to the main entrance of the park, and it's this sort of section here that I remember the bandstand being on. It was round about here, down at this end. And I actually remember coming over on a Sunday and listening to bands playing there. When I say bands, I mean trombone, you know, that kind of bands. I don't know what you call this kind of bands. Pipe bands? No, not pipe bands. You know, like jazz bands and things like that. And everybody would just be sitting around with a picnic on a summer's day listening to the band. What happened to those days? Why did they have to disappear? The lovely trees. A few chestnut trees there. That's another thing about modern kids. They'll walk by a chestnut tree laden with chestnuts. Yeah, when my friend and I were kids, that was a magnet to kids. Playing at conkers. We'd collect the chestnuts, play at conkers. A game of the past. Who remembers playing conkers? You were told that if you soaked your conker in vinegar, it made it rock hard and you would win every game, but who remembers all that? Look at this gorgeous park. Seeing a day like this, absolutely beautiful. Especially for me with all the memories I have of here. Let's go and have a look at these main gates. This is the main bit here. It's the main entrance into the park. This is a bit I remember the ice cream van standing. Warm summer days, especially in Landover Day. And this is the Mill Street. It's been turned into dual carriageway. Of course, it used to just be a two-way road and they moved the park, and now the park's that bit smaller. To meet the demands of progress, more cars on the road. This is your entrance. Absolutely beautiful. You can go up that way, you can go up the middle, or you can go to the right. The right takes you to the swings. The middle takes you straight through the centre of the park. And this takes you up along the boundary wall. We'll go up this way. As I say, all this has been moved in. Totally changed from when I was a boy. I think that happened in the late 80s, early 90s. At that point I had left Rutherglen. But at least the main body of the park's still here. Beautiful. Look at this tree here, I love trees. Look at this one. I don't know what they are, I'll have a look at them in a minute. But look at this tree, look at the trunk. Wow, look at that. That's a big gnarly old trunk, that. That's amazing, look at that. Wow. Anyway, let's see what these are. No, there's no signage. And the last one. If you know what these are, can you let me know in the comments what they commemorate or what they stand for or why they're here? Now, let's go up here. Sorry about my long shadow, but I remember there's a photograph of me in the late 60s, I'm just a wee toddler, at this wall, all the flowers in full bloom in the summer. Amazing. Great memories. The final thing in Overton Park that I want to show you is just down here. And it's a Queen Victoria fountain. Let's go and have a closer look. And here it is, the Queen Victoria fountain. In commemoration of the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Victoria, 1837 to 1897. Bone dry, obviously. Not a working fountain now, but at least it's still in existence. Erected by public subscription, Alexander Edmiston, Provost, George Gray, Town Clerk. There it is, having been moved from its position in the main street up to here. And all my life I've always remembered it being here. So, that is the story of Rutherglen, my hometown, Scotland's oldest royal borough. A place older than Glasgow itself, filled with history that's still visible if you know where to look. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love you to hit the like button or drop a comment below where I should go next. And please subscribe for more Scottish adventures. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.